Welcome to a new year. My name is Rob King. I'm the programmer of Lenfest Kids, and this is Sully, who is our co-programmer. We're starting a new year, and this month is going to see a new president being inaugurated. And with that in mind, we're going to be exploring our year's theme of repair this month through the idea of social repair. Through 3 films that focus on how and why we can make the world a better place. We'll have a live action film, an animated film, and a classic film. The animated film is 2016's Zootopia, which you've seen. It's on Disney Plus, right? And that's a film that's really about the importance of trust, tolerance, and ultimately inclusivity. Our recent live-action film is He Named Me Malala from 2015, which you can rent on Amazon Prime. And that's a documentary about the child activist Malala Yousafzai, who has advocated for the right of girls to an education in places, countries, and cultures where, did you know, girls don't often have that right? As such, I think He Named Me Malala is the first example in this online Lenfest Kids of a documentary. Now, Sally, do you know what a documentary is?
It's a movie or TV show about sort of like it's sort of about the real world and what happened. If you made a documentary about animals, you would make something where I would explain the habits of animals and what they do, things like that.
That's a great definition. So I guess a documentary is for one thing, it's a film about the real world.
Yeah.
And secondly, it tries to, you said explain, like it tries to tell us something about the real world, right? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good definition there, Sally. Second question then. Do you know what non-fiction is?
Non-fiction is real life.
It's real life. So this is non-fiction, right?
Yeah.
But this isn't really a documentary.
No.
Right, yeah. I mean, I would say that non-fiction would just be a film of something real. Documentaries, they're like a type of non-fiction, but not all non-fiction films are documentaries.
Yeah.
I mean, when it snowed last month, we made lots of videos of you sledding, right?
Yes.
That was non-fiction, but it wasn't a documentary because I wasn't trying to explain to anybody about sledding, really. Just family home movies. So, interesting historical fact. Did you know that when cinema started at the end of the 19th century, all films were more or less non-fiction? They were just films of things like trains arriving at stations, or workers leaving factories, or waves kind of lapping up against cliff faces and the like. In fact, non-fiction films constituted the majority of all films made during the first 10 years of cinema. Why do you think that was?
I don't really know, because they couldn't really at the age of film they were in, they couldn't really do any, they weren't using props, and they couldn't use animation because there were no computers then.
But you don't need computers to do animation, do you?
Yes, you can.
You can do hand drawing. Yes, that's right.
But there just wasn't much. It was just and all the films were pretty short.
That's right. And I think in a way, when moving images first came, a lot of people just used it almost in the same way that you'd use still photography. You just take a photo of a nice nature, landscape or something, and but you make a moving image version. But also, I think the reason why non-fiction was so prevalent is because it was a novelty. It was this fascinating thing where audiences for the first time could see moving images. And actually, the early film audiences, they would be fascinated at the leaves in the background of a scene kind of rustling in the breeze, at the detail, of that was captured with the motion picture camera. But what happens to novelty over time?
Well, people forget about it.
Yeah, well, it wears off, or it rubs off. People say that novelty wears off, and that's kind of what happened. I mean, it's all right when at the very beginning of cinema to look at a film of a train arriving at a station, but I don't think you want to watch that for 10 years, probably. Yeah, you want to have something more interesting to keep you coming back, and that's when filmmakers started to move more towards the production of fiction films. So a kind of fascination in the technology, which is initially what's bringing audiences to films, gets substituted by a kind of narrative-based fascination. What stories can cinema tell after the first 10 or so years of film history? Do you know that the word documentary was first used in 1928 by the Scottish filmmaker John Grierson, where he used the word in a review of the film Moana. But not the Moana that you know, which is definitely not a documentary. The Moana he was referring to was an earlier film about South Seas life. By the way, I think we forgot to mention our classic film for this week, and that film is the Danny Kaye live-action movie, The Court Jester, from 1954, which is about a tyrannical king who attempts to keep the throne by kidnapping the rightful heir, a baby, and the baby can only be recognized by a purple birthmark on his bottom. And I think that's how they're going to decide the new president in inauguration on January 20th. Maybe not. Okay, well, that film's available for free at the Internet Archive. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the movies, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.